Officer on Duty, and there seem to be a lot of these films that I'm watching that I hate as much as I enjoy. Hello there, namaste. So yeah, I finished Officer on Duty, and the overview reminds me of things I completely forgot already about the film. A demoted police inspector investigates a counterfeit jewelry racket. And honestly, I completely forgot about that strand. I honestly don't know if it actually leads anywhere. I know that there's gold jewelry that ends up being pawned off but yeah, you know what? That leads nowhere to me, except for it leads them to find who he's looking for. Becoming entangled in a dangerous web of crime that puts his life at stake. All right, so the opening for me, the text I got to say is off. It feels really off because it starts off with saying 8 months previously or something like that, which feels weird when it's the first scene. Why would you say 8 months? Immediately, I am thrown out of the film because it's like, that doesn't make any sense to me. You start off with a scene and then you go 8 months later. But no, it says 8 months previously in the beginning, and then later it goes to present day, which just seems weird to me. If you want this to become timeless, you always just put 8 months later, because anyone can put whatever time they want. Go into the future, everyone's gonna go like, this isn't present day, but that's neither here nor there. It just felt off to me. It felt really off to me. So the police station is basically getting ready for the return of the investigator, and the investigator returns and he assaults the woman who's being interrogated because there are no female constables. And immediately I got the vibe that this is going to be like one of those late noir, or I guess early noir now, where it's basically the bad guy is a good guy. You have like these corrupt officers because they're the only ones that can get into the dirt where all the criminals are, the Dirty Harrys, the French Connections, the Chinatowns, all those films basically rolled up into one. But it doesn't really do that, but it does. And I'm gonna get this out of the way. I know Hollywood has an issue with making like women the bestest ever, the most powerful, the smartest, the strongest, beating up people 20 times their size. This film goes the opposite route, like completely. Every single woman on screen is like mentally ill. Inspector returns home. There's this flashback where he's returning home to yell at his daughter because he found out that his daughter was doing drugs and sleeping with some criminal. His wife ran out, stopping the officer from going into the room. Immediately when he returns, when he finally breaks down the door, the daughter killed herself. How is it his fault that the daughter kills herself when the mother leaves the daughter alone to stop the father from entering the room to save her? And constantly we're supposed to believe that the father's at fault for killing the daughter. It made no sense to me. There's this female doctor who ends up being left over like one of the bodies. The officer basically tells her, you let me know if anyone comes to visit this body. Well, you skipped a few scenes later, she's basically in the hospital herself because she's been stabbed several times. And then she goes to the officer, it's like, you know that body you told me to guard? I recognized her. She came in with her friend. This. And it's just like, you know, if you would have mentioned that earlier, they would have been able to track down some people. It's just like all this stuff is after the fact. Oh, I was stabbed, but the girl who stabbed me I recognized. She was friends with the corpse that I was standing over. I knew them both. It was just like, what? What? And of course, the lead detective has a friend that took the fall for him. That guy's wife ends up being killed for something that her husband didn't do. And as she's dying and she's dying along with her husband, she's like, "Oh, you're killing the wrong people. Go kill this person and his family over." It made no sense. It's just like you could tell by the office, like the friends in his eyes. He's like, who is this woman I'm married to? How is she so dumb to, we're gonna die. They're not gonna save us at this point. And there's a lot of situations where people are unaliving themselves, primarily women, because they're hurt that their secret of them being taken advantage of by guys is gonna get out. And I don't agree with that. I hate that. I hate the fact that it kind of sends the message, oh, it's okay to do this stuff to women because if someone's gonna tell, like, expose what happened to them, the girls will take their own lives and you'll get off it's just, it doesn't say that, but it says that. It says that without having to mention it. It's just like, oh, just so you know, all these women which were taken advantage of by guys, well, when the secret was about to be exposed and their lives were about to be ruined, they took their own lives instead of, you know, getting the people in custody who deserve to be in custody. The only one I agreed with was at the very beginning of the film, because that one, you know, the 8 months previously, which felt out of place, that shot right there made so much sense, because at the very end of the film, you're like, now this makes sense. But that officer's action, the one who took his own life in the beginning, his actions don't justify the criminal's actions later on, because that's what it felt like it was trying to do. Because it's like, oh, all these other heinous acts that happened were only caused by these drug dealers because this person here did this, and all these other people were pointing fingers this way to let it come out. But one thing I gotta say, hands down, this film, its cinematography is amazing. I absolutely loved it. I could feel myself in each moment. Like, there's this scene where he sees a girl who took her own life out of the multitude in this film that apparently took their own lives. He sees her, and then you start feeling the jitteriness of it. I'm pretty sure it was shot at a faster frame rate, and the lights in the background just weren't, because you know when you record at a faster frame rate and the lights are always flickering in the background. It's like if you're recording 60, but the light is blinking at 30, you'll get like a flicker, and I felt that in the scene. There's that like one fighting scene in the morgue, which was pretty cool. That one I actually enjoyed, the way the camera was flipping around and moving like that. It didn't make me feel dizzy whatsoever, and I normally feel dizzy when they do all these epic vroom, vroom types of camera movements. I absolutely found this cinematography fantastic. Absolutely, hands down. I love the cinematography. I just wish I didn't hate the story as much as I really liked the story, if that makes any sense. It's one of those, just like a Maharaja, where all the actions in the beginning become justifiable by the end, where you're like, yes, I feel vindicated. Almost at the very end. But I enjoy this film because it is a mystery. I was watching it to try and see, okay, what can I see that is really going on? I mean, to be honest, I completely forgot, like I mentioned, about the gold chain that he was hunting for. All that was a means to an end to find out one thing that led to another thing. It just reminded me of Hati Ram, where he's basically doing his own investigation, looking for the missing husband, only to stumble across this huge investigation that's going on. And it's just, I found that interesting. It's just like, huh, it's always these little cases that lead to these big cases. I enjoyed it at the end. I liked how the revenge was got. I don't like how they tried to rationalize the criminal's actions, because if you're a criminal, there is no justification in anything you do after the fact. The only thing I agreed with was the very shot at the beginning. I honestly felt that they should have done worse. I felt that they should have done worse. There are toys they could use. I use the word toys loosely. There are gadgets they could use. I know there are things out there which some people find joy in, but a lot of men, okay, a lot of straight men will find it very intrusive, let's say. They could have done stuff like that in the beginning of the film, but of course, if they did stuff like that, it would have completely put everything in a different light. The way they introduced the beginning of the film makes you feel like, oh, this guy was onto something. He discovered something, which led to this happening. So now we have to follow this officer who's supposed to be like a Dirty Harry type character, which he isn't, but he is. It felt off. It's like you're either going to commit to him being like a dirty kind of cop, or you're not. They like halved it, and I'm like, I don't like how he is. It's like he's likable, but I hate him. I like him, but I hate him. Yeah, in the end, I did like how this film ended. I do wish it started on a different note, or they showed like more of what happened, 8 months previously. That still pisses me off. That will always piss me off. One last thing I need to mention is the villains in this. I don't know entirely how I feel. I think it would have been better if it was done where the true, like, that's what it is. The true villain is really the person at the very beginning, and then everything is fallout from that. But at the same time, it tries to sell us that these kids are a villain, and they are. They're atrocious. They're evil. They're a scourge to society. They should be eradicated, just like the officer in the beginning of the film. But at the same time, they try to make us sympathize with them, because at the very end, I'm just like, well, they all got what they deserved, but the person at the very beginning deserved worse. It's just one of those things that are just like, huh, okay, that's how it ends. Okay. Because I didn't really feel anything. Like, there are the scenes where, you know, I normally complain, like in Hollywood, they have these little tiny petite women taking on guys that are like twice their size, and it just makes no sense. Here, the girl's getting tossed around, getting beaten to a pulp, but these are drug addicts. They're high all the time. She's not feeling the pain. She's not feeling anything. And heck, anyone who's seen anything of someone who's literally drugged up to the point where they don't feel pain, or they're not conscious or aware, or they just get into like a state where they just are crazed. But in the end, I mean, I didn't care for them as villains. I was kind of hoping which it works, but it doesn't work, where the lead officer that we're following would be like the real bad guy, but not in the sense that he's evil. It's just that he believes, you know, you need to do dark things in order to do what is right in the long run. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm just going to be like a meh on the film, because I hated it, especially in the beginning, until the very end, where I liked it. With all the revenge, with all the you know, the twists and turns, and you're like, oh, I caught this stuff before. It's just, I'm completely against this type of action, the taking advantage of women, that kind of thing. And the fact that every single woman on screen is just a complete retard. Let's be honest. They made every single female a complete retard. I don't know. Thank y'all for watching. Talk to you next time. Toodles.
You guys got a video? Why is it so bad?
And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Why is it like that?